Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Black Liberation Tech podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Renee Jordan, and today we're going to take a look at another lesson in our Safety First series. So we're going to go ahead and jump in it by going to the Black-Liberation.tech website. We're going to head over to lessons. Remember, it's in both English and Spanish. And the lesson that we are going to view today will be friends, not followers. All right, so it starts off with a story, friends, but not a follower. Noel. And by the way, this is one of my pieces of art. If you're interested, you're welcome to go to shop and check out what we have there in terms of the art that's seen on the podcast. All right, so Noel, hey everyone. I was thinking about something related to our online experiences, and I wanted to hear your thoughts. I recently noticed that some of my friends and even acquaintances on social media are not following me back. It's like we're friends in real life, but not a follower online. Have any of you experienced this? Jokey nods. Oh, I can relate to that, Noel. It's something that I've encountered as well. But there's another aspect to it that I've personally grappled with. I've had to strike a balance between being friends with some people in real life and choosing whether to follow them online, especially when I see friends posting videos of violent acts and deaths of Black people. It's not just a matter of not wanting to see some content. It's about protecting my mental health and emotional well-being. Sarita, that's a tough situation, Jokey. I've seen some of those posts too, and they can be really distressing. I completely understand why you might want to set those boundaries online. America, yeah, it can be a bit tricky. I have some friends who post content that I really don't want to see repeatedly on my timeline. It's not that I don't like them as friends, but I want my online space to be more positive and uplifting. Gloria, I get that, America. It's essential to curate your online experience to match your interests and mental well-being, but it can be a delicate balance, especially with people you care about in real life. Denitra, absolutely, Gloria. I think it's crucial to remember that online and offline relationships can coexist separately. You can still be great friends with someone in person without being followers online. It's about setting boundaries that work for you. Jokey, that's a great point, Denitra. We all have different preferences when it comes to our online presence. It's essential to prioritize our mental health and the content we consume. Noel, thanks for sharing your perspectives, everyone. It's reassuring to know that I'm not the only one navigating this balance between being friends, but not necessarily a follower online. Jokey, you're welcome, Noel. Remember, it's your online space and you have the right to make it a positive and comfortable environment for yourself. All right, so that was the conversation to get us started with the lesson. So let's take a look at the next section where we talk about setting boundaries on social media. Here we have a series of reflect and write prompts, and it says reflect on the following prompts and write out your responses. Quick recap. In this lesson, Jokey and her friends talk about how hard it can be to balance real life friendships with what happens online. They discuss setting boundaries on social media, protecting mental health, and choosing what kind of content they want to see or not see. In this section, we'll also consider problems like trolling, cyberbullying, bots, and fake social media accounts. So here are the prompts. Write and reflect. Think about your own social media feed. What kinds of posts make you feel good? And what kinds of posts bring you down? Have you ever felt pressure to follow someone online just because they're your friend in real life? How did you handle that situation? Jokey said she sets boundaries online to protect her mental health. What are some boundaries you might want to set for yourself? What is trolling? Have you ever seen or experienced it? How did it make you feel? What could someone do to respond safely? Some people create finsta accounts, fake Instagram accounts, to post private things or talk to only close friends. What are some risks that come with using or following a finsta? Social media bots often post comments that are random or meant to cause trouble. Why do you think it's important to tell the difference between a real person and a bot? Imagine your little cousin asking you, Is it okay if I follow everyone who follows me? Write a short message or piece of advice you would give them about who to follow and why it matters. If a friend kept posting things that upset you, but you didn't want to hurt their feelings by unfollowing, what would you do? Describe at least two options that show you can care for others and still care for yourself. So I will stop here and take a moment and pause to say I am careful as far as who I follow online, specifically on TikTok. I make sure that the people that I'm following are positive. They are creating content that I feel that is either informative, funny, or cool to watch. I am an artist myself, and so I completely appreciate artistic gifts in others, and specifically when it comes to nails. So believe it or not, one of my favorite content to watch are the nail tech artists when they do different nail sets. I appreciate both those who freestyle their nail art as well as those who are able to take the inspiration from other nail techs and make it their own and be creative about it, like take it to a different level. I find that pretty cool. Some other things that I like to follow include someone who covers fraud and talks about the different ways people fraud others. It's a good way for me to learn what to and not to do, as well as what to keep an eye out on, because people are very creative when it comes to making money and stealing it. And some of the other people I follow include Black women who give tips on working in corporate America, as well as those who provide words of affirmation. So sayings on a regular basis that are meant to be positive and to encourage you. I definitely enjoy those. I also follow a couple of hair braiders. And so those are the types of content creators that I follow on TikTok. I also enjoy the Am I the A-hole readers on TikTok that are reading the different stories from Reddit. And I definitely vote in on whether or not I think someone may or may not be the a-hole when it comes to different stories and different scenarios. And it gets me thinking about, what if I was in that situation? What would I do? Do I think the person was right? Is this person delusional and they're actually just pushing their own agenda? And so that's a little bit about me, and I'll stop right there and let's read the rest of this lesson. So this next activity is to help you clean up your feed. Okay, so let's look at the objective of this activity. To help you reflect on your digital environment and take intentional actions to create a healthier, safer, and more affirming experience on social media by setting clear boundaries. So these are the instructions. Pause and reflect. So take about 5 to 10 minutes. Before you open your social media app, take a few minutes to answer the following in your journal or digital notepad. How do I feel after spending time on social media? What kind of content uplifts me? What drains me? Do I feel pressure to follow or keep following someone? When was the last time I cleaned up my feed? All right, step number 2, open your most used social media app. Spend 15 to 20 minutes completing the feed cleanup checklist below. Here's the first item on the checklist. Unfollow accounts that make you feel insecure, anxious, or no longer align with your values. Here's the second item. Mute people you care about, but whose content overwhelms you or you need space from. You'll still follow them, but won't see every post or get alerts. That might be very helpful. The next item is to block trolls, strangers sending inappropriate messages, or accounts that consistently post harmful or triggering content. Follow at least 3 accounts that inspire, educate, or align with your passions. Example, writers, artists, scientists, activists, historians, etc. Moderate. Adjust your comment settings to block harmful words or limit comments from people you don't know. Turn off notifications for accounts or apps that constantly demand your attention and interrupt your focus. That seems like something that's pretty easy to do. Organize close friends/private stories. Create a list to share personal content only with people you trust. Check tagged photos. Untag yourself from posts you don't want on your profile. Step 3, reflect again. So take another 5 to 10 minutes. After you've completed your cleanup, journal your thoughts. What was the hardest part of this activity and why? How did it feel to let go of accounts that didn't serve you? What's one boundary you'll commit to from now on when using social media? And here's an optional group debrief. Pair up or gather in small groups and discuss. So, with you and your mom or your daughter or guardian, etc., pair up or gather in small groups and discuss. What surprised you during the cleanup? Did anyone find an account that really inspired them? And then, what advice would you give a younger sibling or cousin about curating their social media? Here's an optional extension. Create a digital well-being pledge graphic or wallpaper with your top 3 social media boundaries and set it as your phone lock screen for 1 week. And let me know how it goes. So once again, with this particular safety lesson, I want to make sure that daughters and mothers and guardians that you take a moment out to discuss with each other what is important when we're dealing with social media. Are you there for laughs? Are you there for information? Are you there to learn something new? Are you there to explore your interests? Perhaps you can get inspired and decide what your next steps would be by watching someone else who's sharing content that allows you to take a look at their profession or their gifts, talents, or abilities. And perhaps you can explore as a result of following someone who's inspirational in that way. Perhaps they're inspirational because they are encouraging and they have positive words to say. People who complain love to complain, and they're easy to find. So if you could ever find someone who is actually an optimist or someone who is speaking positively, that could be a good person to follow so that you can get your daily dose of positivity as you go along your way. So once again, thank you for listening to another episode of the Black Liberation Tech podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Renee Jordan. Please feel free to like, subscribe, and share, rate, and review the podcast to help it become more discoverable. And until next time, take care. Bye-bye.